Do you want to know what's going round? See what's the talk of the town on Real Talk on the radio today.
And welcome to Real Talk Radio 97.5. You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 FM and KDWRadio.com. Sending out a special thank you to Remax Palm Realty, Allstate Hardin Insurance Group on Toledo Blade, and also my favorite title company, Lions Title and Trust on Toledo Blade. Very special shout out to them because they are major sponsors of the radio station. And blessings to all of you who do participate at the radio station and also give your donations. We look forward to many, many more years to go. And anyone who's looking forward to advertising with us, please reach out to me personally, 941-391-4663. I would love to talk to you about the opportunities that we have. And I've got our city manager in the house, Mr. Jerome Fletcher. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm doing great today, John. You said, "And my favorite," and I thought you were about to say your favorite guest, and I got all excited, and you did not say your favorite guest, city manager.
Well, you're my favorite city manager ever.
Yeah. Oh, ever? All right.
Ever. You're the only one I've ever interviewed.
No, but you've been living here for a long time, though. You've run into some city managers, I'm sure.
I have, and I gotta say, we are we talk about the holiday season, and we are blessed to have you and your family as part of our Northport family. I love the vision. I love the energy you've brought. I love the organization style that you've put into play. And I also love the fact that I think that you let your staff be their staff. And I don't think you're a micromanager. I think your style is very much inclusive to upward momentum.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we always want to encourage professional development and growth. I keep saying we have a great team, and I love our team. And the only problem with great teams are that people grow and they leave, and you have to then sort of, go back to the drawing board of the bench. And that's just a part of leadership and what it looks like. You can't hold people back. You want everyone to grow to their fullest potential. And why would you not want that for this city as well? We have some great people and great staff, and I trust them to do what they're supposed to do. And when we all make mistakes, we all course correct, and then we all get it better next time. So it's a great process.
So as far as like the city goes, I'm looking forward to January because the forecast of what's going to happen, what's coming.
Right.
That's January. What's your wrap up for 24?
My wrap up would be, I think we had a lot of good wins in 24. We tackled some legacy projects that were out there hanging around for a while, and they weren't so easy. And if we didn't fix them or finish them, we definitely made progress on them. I don't think we gave up on anything, and we're still carrying some of that over to 25, but that's natural and normal. But things didn't go our way all the time as well in 24. And so when I think about that, I'm thinking about the referendum, and, we learn, we listen, and we improve, and we bring it back in a better way. I don't think the citizens would expect us to stop doing what we're trying to doing in their best interest. We just need to listen better and do it more in line with the majority of the people in the city. And, I said, I'm not going to go against the grain and not listen to the people. So they spoke. Let's listen, let's learn, and let's move on. But we did a lot of good things in 2024, and I'm very proud of our team.
So I look at that as I know that there's wins and losses in life, but I also think that there's some really good losses. I think that the opportunity to talk to citizens about what's going to come up in 25 is a lot less than we anticipated, because you're talking about changing the mindset of less than 1% of the voting population. And
True.
and so I look at that and I see victory because we're not far off. We just have some more education to do.
Oh, is this a moral victory?
Uh, there are such things as moral victories because it the loss
Can I get,
is huge. The loss is
so
huge. The opportunity
so
for go ahead, go ahead.
if Ohio State was unranked and they went into the big house to play Michigan and they almost won, you would say, "Oh, that was a moral victory. I'm good with that." No, you would be like, "Win the game, no
Well,
matter
no,
what."
I hate losing. I don't like losing.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Moral victory on the vote though. Uh, I, I I can't compare it to that team up north because I can't stand them.
I knew that would get. I knew that would
I
get.
just assumed that we annex that whole state into Canada. I'm okay
Oh,
with it. Buckeyes are true Buckeyes. We don't. Woody Hayes once said, "If you need gasoline in that godforsaken state, push your car to the other side of the line and fill up with gas." I agree with that mindset.
I didn't mean to touch the red button so early in the interview. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
you
I was
just
trying to put it
blew,
in
you
proper.
blew up the button.
I was trying to put it in proper context because the way I look at it, I wasn't happy that we failed. And one of my sayings is I can get over just about anything in 48 hours. So I took the 48 hours and I got over it and I dusted myself off and we moved on. But I just don't want people to think that we're not hearing them. So when they see things coming back in a different way, in a different shape, that's us hearing you as we're still trying to get to the solution that we all agree on, which is the city has to succeed. If we all agree on that outcome, we can disagree on how to get there, but it's a journey. We'll get there together.
Well, I'm glad you took me out of the football conversation because I was about to dig in and yell, "Hey, I'm ready to go, coach." So
especially during the playoffs.
Oh my
especially during the
gosh.
playoffs right now.
And especially because we lost to that godforsaken team up north. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Is there a moral victory in that? Heck no. Not going to say there is. I'm going to tell you that my teeth were seething.
Right.
Just like I believe a lot of people in this city, their teeth were seething that it didn't pass because they truly understood why and the what for and the need. We just have to do a better job, I think, getting the information out. And I think we're getting better at it, though.
I think it's a combination, on two fronts on that. When I've talked to the commissioners who were here, during that time period, I felt more, and I've said this to them, I felt like more like, me and staff were more forward facing on the effort. And I think it needs to be a combined effort next time. I want the commission to be united in their voice in the support of this. And I also want some of our state of elected officials, Buchanan and Gruters and some people who show us Stubbe, who show us nonstop support throughout the year. I think their voice will help lend some value to what we're trying to do. And then on the other side, I feel like we need to do better with breaking down the exact, ask a little bit deeper so that people know exactly what it is. And now that we've been told, hey, we don't want to let you borrow for imminent infrastructure failure. Well, now you need to show them what that looked like. Talk to them about what projects those are and the impacts of doing those projects and the impacts of not doing those projects. So, you reflect, you learn, you keep moving, and you're just getting better. We'll get there. We'll make sure the city is taken care of.
We started out with the referendum and kind of hit these things and we had 2 new elected officials, really 3. Technically, Barbara Langdon got reelected, and we've got 2 new sitting commissioners.
Right.
And I know you've had an opportunity now to meet with them, and I had David on, which was really a fun show for him and myself as I got to know him more. They're still somewhat. I want to be careful, wet behind the ears on some things within the walls now of City Hall. But what's your overview of the election and how you're feeling about 25 working with the new commission.
Well, I did not want to see Mayor White, which she was at the time, leave. She has been a phenomenal asset to this city. I think that, her legacy as a tree lady and what she has done, People for Trees will stand, and her sitting on the commission and being mayor will just only add to her overall legacy. So I am definitely going to miss her and definitely going to try to see her over the holiday season. But the two people who came in and who are new, I always prepare myself for the worst. That's just how I am. And if it doesn't turn out to be the worst, then I'm pleasantly surprised. But I don't like it to be the other way where I'm caught off guard. So when they came in, I was ready for the worst. And I've told Commissioner Petrov and I've told Commissioner Duval, they have been extremely pleasant to work with. I mean, their energy has been off the charts of positivity and excitement. And I am still shocked. And I even spoke to one of them about it, and it was just like I'm blown away with the enthusiasm, the energy to come to the team, to learn, to figure out where their pre-election stances were compared to their post-education stances. And some of them might be the same and some of them might change, but keeping that open mind to learn what you don't learn. And I've already seen one of them do a great job of compromising during something that they already had predetermined positions on before they came into the job. And that just shows a level of maturity and growth that I was not expecting. But they have both been a pleasure to work with, and I'm happy that they're there and they're going to do great things in their roles.
Anytime that you have change out, there's some adjustment period. Do you feel like we're going to slow down and wait for the adjustment period, or do you think as a city we're striving forward?
Well, I hate to tell you, but we're not even going to slow down. We're going to speed up. And so I've apologized to both of them. It is a very unfortunate time that they're coming into those chairs with the things that we have on our agenda in front of them. They have been truly thrown into the fire. And when you talk about the police headquarters and the conversations we've had, and how do we solve for this Rubik's Cube that hasn't sort of figured itself out yet, that's a lot to throw on new commissioners. And one commissioner, Commissioner Petro, he doesn't have the background of serving on an advisory board or even seeing some of what government looks like in action. He is literally watching government for the first time at this level, and it's a lot, but he's doing a great job, and he's balancing his time, and he's asking all the right questions, and we're getting them answers like we're supposed to, and making sure that he has the information to do his job correctly. But it is a lot, and again, he has a family that he has to work with as well. So it's just so unfortunate. I wish it was an easier time, but we have a lot of hard conversations coming up, and we had one on December the 10th, and that was a big day. And I told them that it would be a big day because we had a lot of things to talk about. And so now, guess what? When you come back in January, on January the 6th, we're going to have more things to talk about because we've got to get to the end of some of this, or at least push some of these projects down the road where we can give the citizens the comfort and confidence that where we're going is the right way to go.
We've got some big issues that are going to hit 25. And I know we've made some adjustments in 24 off of the referendum and different things like that. We've talked about the police department, and 24 brought some huge concepts, some huge ideas, some huge opportunities, and some missed opportunities. I believe to one, maybe educate more, but also make people understand that these are not issues that are going to go away. They're just going to linger. And when you talk about adjustments now, people are still going to feel impact from some of these adjustments one way or the other. Because we're not able to borrow. Correct?
Correct. Now, if we play the tape back from when we talked about before the election, I said that if it didn't pass, we were still going to take care of the city. It would just cost you more and take longer. And it's going to be both of those things. And I don't say those in in a spiteful way, but it's just the reality of it. You know, the more we have to ask and do more than what other jurisdictions around us already have the ability to do, you're not saving taxpayers' dollars by spending more time with your government doing something that should be sort of easier for us to convince people to do. But it is what it is. So now, as we go through this process and we bring it back to you, you know, the question about borrowing for declared emergencies and infrastructure needs, we're going to break those two up, you know, break them up and put them out there like the people said they would. And if they choose to give us the infrastructure for the projects that we need that are critical, then that's great. If not, we'll bring it back and ask again. We've never asked. You talked about the referendum this year. You might remember at the beginning of the year in January, we were looking at a police referendum that we sort of put to the back burner to put make the main thing, which was the borrowing for the city overall. So now that didn't work. So now we got to come back in pieces and come back to you multiple occasions till we get the right number of people to agree to how to move the city forward. But it's just a process. This is what our government looks like. This is the process that we have embraced, and everyone should embrace it. And you know, when the people speak, you listen to the people. You don't keep going against the people trying to get what you want the way you want it. You can still try to get what you want, but you need to maybe pivot and change and revise your strategy of how to get there. And that's what we've done. And so in January, which will be a big month, we're going to actually just, you know, I'm gonna give more details, more financial details, more financial impacts, and we're going to see what the people say, and we'll go from there too.
And I'm going to ask it this way. What do you think is going to happen if we don't address the issue?
Well,
like if we don't say yes to some of these things, what's going to happen, truthfully?
Well, this is how I see it, and this is how I see it now. First of all, I was hoping that this city would not wait to see a critical piece of infrastructure fail and we have a loss of life before people take it seriously. That's the first thing. Our main job of everyone on this planet should be the preservation of life. So we have those responsibilities and disciplines in our organization. So we care about that, period. But what I think is going to happen is the population of this city is going to keep growing. And with those people coming in here and the ULDC updated, you're going to see revenues kind of go like this. That's going to be great. What you don't want to see is your expenses to go in an even steeper line. So my hope is that we can find a way to use some financial tools that go through the citizen that says, hey, look, we can match our needs with our funding in a way that we can paint a picture that shows you, look, if we do this now and we work on this pathway, we'll all be better later when more revenue comes in, and then the requests on the citizens will be less because you have more money to take care of yourself. It won't be a pay-as-you-go model that we had before, but it will be better than just borrowing a lot of money without having anything in the pot, so to speak. And I'll use the police, you know, as the example. There was no tangible money in that pot. Even if you say, well, we're going to move surtax around, surtax comes in on a basis and then you use it for what you need it for. The grant that we're still pursuing from the state, you know, that money is not in our hand yet. The deadline for that is July. It opens to submit on July the 1st, and we're going to be right there first in line. But still, the state is just like any other government. They have their own challenges. They have their ups and downs. And, you know, we believe that since our project of the police headquarters is shovel ready, we should be a good candidate to receive some of their funding. But, you know, that's only a piece of the pie. So you're going to the people essentially saying, well, we don't have anything in the pot yet, but yet we want you to give this. And that's going to be a hard situation to navigate through, especially as you look at the implications of what that means until you get that money in your hand. So we're going to paint a better picture of what it means. But I think that overall, the infrastructure of this city is going to get taken care of because we're going to keep asking. And we're not asking for things that we want. We're going to ask for things that we need. So we got to do a better job of saying that. And the last thing I'll say, John, before you jump in, is the problem is we keep finding a way to do things. And, you know, we keep figuring it out. And, you know, we had a water control structure ribbon cutting yesterday. It was like $4 million. And if I'm a citizen, I say, see, look, they just fixed another water control structure. Not to mention we got 60 of them that need to be fixed in the entire city. And, you know, it costs a lot of money, but we always find a way to figure it out. And when you do that for so long, people think you will figure it out and you will keep doing it. And I don't want something catastrophic to happen before the city realizes that we're not the little boy who was crying wolf. We are trying to give you a heads up for things that we see coming, and we want you to be well aware.
You know, pretty
Sorry.
much all these structures were built at the same time.
Or right around the same time.
Yeah, I mean, date wise, I mean, we're not arguing over decades of time frame. We're looking at the same, probably within the same decade, all of them were built.
Yeah, right. So imagine if they all fail at the same time. Imagine if you had multiple failures that would jeopardize not the quality of life, the loss of life. I'm telling you, you could be going into a whole new category here that we just need to make sure that we're careful for. But our job is to make sure that we give this commission the best information that they can have so that they can support whatever decision they want to move going forward. And then we'll take that and then we will get the citizens on board with it the best way we can. Keep it moving.
Darren Parent, I appreciate the thumbs up. If you have a question, please text it in or type it in. My cell phone number is 941-391-4663. If anybody's got a question that they don't want to put on Facebook and they want to text it into me, I'll be more than happy to ask the question and get that part of the show going. You know, as we're talking about all these things, you know, we always compared this over the past 3 or 4 months to your home finances. And we told people, yeah, you've got an opportunity to let the city borrow, just like we have the ability to borrow at home, credit cards, whatever.
Right.
And you were doing that with some restraint. Do you still see that as a tangible approach to some of these things?
To borrowing with say that question one more time, John.
Borrowing with restraint. Do you see that as still a tangible approach to getting some of this stuff done?
I think the way I look at it is we're going to ask for borrowing in smaller amounts. And we are also going to look at, instead of buying that house and saving up and buying that house, is the example that we use. What if you rent it to own? What if you were able to find a smaller way to get into the home? And then once you're in the home, as your money grows, you're able to pay it back and down faster. So I'm thinking of a different way to get some of the bigger things out of the way. And when I say bigger things, I'm talking about like the large scale infrastructure projects. But when you start talking about us needing about, let's say, $20 million in projects, those are things that we need to make sure that, okay, we can handle those things because the impact to the citizens is very, very manageable. But when you start talking about $100 million for any one project and you don't have it there in your reserves to actually do it, that's when the anxiety sort of gets up to a level of, okay, wait a minute, let's make sure that I'm agreeing to this before I vote on this as a citizen. And we need to give them that level of comfort that we've exhausted all of the financial tools within the toolbox, as well as all of the efforts of this city and our staff and our commissioners and our advisors and our elected officials to say, this is exactly what we need and why we need it, and get better buy-in from there. So I'm not big on doing the same thing over and over and thinking that something different is going to happen. So you just have to evolve. You have to evolve with your environment, and that's what I'm trying to do.
So I'm gonna pick on project at a time here for a second.
Okay.
Not pick on, try to highlight, I guess, the Price Boulevard project.
Ooh,
Give your insight.
Ooh, okay. Price Boulevard. So the reality of Price Boulevard is that it went out to bid and we got one bidder, which is never a good thing. And that one bidder was about $15 million more than we thought it would be. And there's one particular segment of the project that is raising that cost that we're going back and, as you can imagine, evaluating and trying to figure out how do we sort of make that happen. but it was very disappointing to see that. So we have some work to do on the background of that we just found out last week, but or early this week. I mean, they're all running together, but either way, Price Boulevard is still going to happen. We have the money that we borrowed to actually do it. And if you remember, and so people won't throw the computer down and say they're not going to do Price Boulevard. That's not what we're saying. We did not borrow up to the maximum that the citizens allowed us to borrow in order to do Price Boulevard for a reason. And part of that was this reason. But do we want to go right back and then say, okay, to our bond company, give us more? No, we want to figure it out and make sure that we can take care of it within the money that we have. So that's what the due diligence of Price Boulevard looks like.
Okay. So
does that make sense?
Yep. So it does to me. If the citizens that are listening right now have a question in regards to Price Boulevard, please feel free to tap them on the keys and we'll get that going. But do you think that project's going to go underway in 25?
Yes.
That was a much faster yes than the overview of the problem.
Yeah. Well, because the timing of 2025 isn't going to change, but you, me, everyone, no one wants to pay anything more than they want to pay. So right. I understand construction costs are up. I understand labor costs. I get all of that. It doesn't change my mind. I still want to pay. I still want to pay what we've already been allocated to pay. And so we're going to exhaust all of those options, because anything more that you go back to the well for, you still have to pay back. So it's like, this is not something we take very lightly over here. We take this responsibility of being responsible for taxpayers' dollars very seriously.
Warm Mill Springs.
Yes. All right. Great place. So Warm Mill Springs, they are going into the design, permitting, engineering phase, which will take roughly about 18 months. And then once they finish that and we put it out for bid and we get our bidder, it'll take another year to actually do those renovations. We made a commitment to the public on our word and everything within our control that we will not close the springs during those renovations and those activities. And that is still what we plan on doing. We know that there is work to do on Ortiz as well. So talking to our county partners and figuring out how we can do that is on the agenda. We also would like to, there are homes over there that want to be annexed into the city of Northport voluntarily, and we are supporting those as well. We are working with the activists and the partners who showed up at our meeting and talked about making it a conservatory easement on the 60 acres. That document will be created and put in front of the commission for their input on making it more of a passive park towards the 2019 master plan than not. It may not include everything in 2019 master plan. I don't think they ever committed to that, but they, as a body, agreed that they did not want to go to a heavy economic development model. That is underway. It's happening. So I'm glad we were able to move that one forward. That's one of the ones that's not complete, but definitely moving forward for the first time in a long time.
Well, listen, momentum on movement is a better thing than momentum on stagnant.
Right.
Man, we've been treading water forever. I'm surprised we haven't. Well, we've been close to drowning a couple times in that. But it's nice to see it getting off of what I consider the plate. I like to see things moved off the plate and getting completed. I'm going to slide over to I think Welland Park. Kind of give an overview of relations and where we are with Welland Park.
Relations with the Mattamy Homes, like Rick Severn's relations, or relations with the people in Welland Park who still want to de-annex from Welland?
Couple it all together. Give us where we're at.
So first of all, our partner Rick Severance and his team over at Welland Park are still doing a phenomenal job. I think they've already broken ground, and moved into the next phase of their building. So you're going to see more buildings pop up over there as you drive by and you go in and you can enjoy the amenities over there. The area is still growing. The homes are still, coming online, and the businesses are still wanting to be there. I think they still have a waiting list of businesses to get into that particular side of our community. I believe, there's a plan to purchase some more land over there for them as well. So if you can even imagine them getting a bigger footprint right there, where they are, that we see. I know it's just all good things for that. As far as the de-annexation lawsuit goes, that's still in the courts. That we should be hearing something fairly soon, because I think everyone turned their last piece of information in not too long ago. But we did have a situation where one of the Grand Paradiso board leadership, came and was complaining about us and our debris removal for them, which we never wavered on the fact that we were going to do it for them and how we were going to do it. But the one person who we interacted with was not a very positive approaching person. And I fail to believe that entire community feels that same way. I got to believe there's some people over there who love to live in Northport, who know how to talk to people professionally and respectfully, and want to have a good quality of life here. And I hate that he was the face on camera publicly in our chambers for that particular incident. But my thing is this: we're going to be consistent. As long as we're consistent with people and we treat everyone the same way until they give us a reason not to, I think that's how you win in life. No one likes someone who is just inconsistent, and you don't know what you're going to get from day to day. So Welland Park is and always will be a huge part of this city's future. And I look forward to working with those guys and bringing more things to this city that people can enjoy, whether it's diversity of eating options or diversity of activities. We need everything that we can here to make more people happy as they continue to move here. Our growth projections are exceeding what we thought they were even 2 years ago. We're growing faster than we thought we would grow. And that's kind of scary.
I'm happy with Rick Severance. I interviewed him on my show, and I know it fires some people up when I say this stuff, but I loved his answer, and I've asked him if I could use it, and he said yes, and I've kind of lived by it in recent months. And I asked him a question about how he approached the downtown area on satisfaction. Right. And his statement was the 98% of the people who live here aren't talking to me about anything. They're just waiting on me to open the rest of it up. The 2%ers are the ones who are telling me what I should do more and what I should do less. And he still listened to them and took it in, but his focus was on the 98% of success. Do we have that same mindset at City Hall, that we're still listening to everybody, but we're focused a little different?
I'm going to tweak that a little bit.
Okay.
Because we do listen to everyone, and there is a percentage on any given project where it's 98 and 2%.
Sure.
What I'm going to say is you shouldn't always be in the 2%. There has to be something that you like about this city. So when you come with a problem, either start by saying, you know what, Rick, at Welland Park, I love when you did this, and this, but this thing over here I didn't like. I maybe didn't like this over here. But you can't say you just don't like everything. You can't always be in the 2%. You have to be able to say there's some things that this city does well that I like because I love being here and I'm not going to move. But by the way, those 3 things over there, you guys really dropped the ball on, and I'm going to tell you dropped the ball on them. That is fair. That is so fair. I think that is more than reasonable to have issues with things that we do, but you can't have an issue with everything that we do all the time. That's not possible.
Yeah, it's just that the percentages don't play hand in hand, do they?
No, but we got to listen, so we listen.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool conversation because we're hammering down on some of the major projects that are out here, and I kind of want to throw in now with Parks and Rec, and not that they're a project, but Parks and Rec is a big part of our community engagement, our community involvement.
Yes.
from all the great locations that we have and what they do to support. And, I have had these conversations with citizens that still to this day are wanting to not have the swimming pool and the water park because they didn't vote for it before. Well, then when you start educating people on what the actual swimming area does, this just one of the major features that I brag about is that every second grader goes through a water safety course at our city pool. They're all
Right.
educated on water safety on site. We let them see it. We let them get involved in it. We make them have a safe spot at that location. If we don't have Chuck E. Cheese, we don't have all Dave and Buster's. We don't have the yet.
Right.
We have got to keep this community engagement with our youth. We are a youthful Florida city. Oh my gosh, our average age is not 78. We are youthful. We are working class. We are hardworking class. And we drive away from our city to go to work every day, most of us. And yet we're still baseball, football, soccer, the community centers, the Morgan Center.
Right.
These are really flagships of what we are as a city, isn't it?
It is, but wait a minute. You just mentioned the Morgan Center. Are we not going to have a celebration that the Morgan Center is opening the basketball court in January, less than 30 days from now? Where's our guy at?
Sean Kirkpatrick
Sean,
just in. He goes, awesome. He goes, achievement.
January 2nd.
Yeah.
I think it's January 2nd at 10 a.m.
He had just texted that message. He just did that too.
Tell him, thank him for his patience. Thank you for your patience, Sean. We appreciate it. But yeah, back to your point. Whether it's the quality of life or the economic impact that our Parks and Recs has on our city globally, you don't always count their dollars of impact into their reserves or into the city reserves. We're talking about activities that bring people in from other cities, other places, and getting them to spend their money here. And we want to increase those activities. When someone says, and some people might feel this way, well, I don't ever go to the water park, or I don't ever go to that park. Why should I have to pay for it? And then there's a lot of people here who says, well, I don't have children in schools, but guess what? The school still takes their share from you because you're here as part of the system that we have. And we can't change that system, but I also don't want people to be so unhappy in that system that it skews their perspective of why they love to be here, which goes back to my earlier point. You may not like everything that we do, but there has to be some things that keep you here, and we have to be doing something well. And Parks has to be doing something well because it impacts something that you like in the city, whether you can make that direct connection or not.
Public Works.
Mm-hmm.
What's your concept of the whole department? I can't give kudos enough for what they've done with recycling. I can't give kudos enough for what they've done for roads and drainage. I can't give kudos enough for what they've done during a hurricane and cleanup and debris and all these things that we tasked them with. My wife went to the event the other day at the Mullen, at the Mullen Center.
Yes.
And he said, I walked around and I thanked everybody. And she goes, I can't believe how many staff members thought, man, I just don't hear that enough.
Mm-hmm.
We do expect a lot from our city.
Yes, we do.
And we do, as citizens, appreciate what they do. We may not say it a lot, but that it's a thankless, I hate to say it, but it's a thankless job. Because
it is,
but it doesn't hurt to say thank you or acknowledge a job well done.
I always thank all of our employees when I recommend to them because I know that, again, we're not in this job to get the pat on the back, but sometimes you see the kudos email for a staffer in a department, and you want to make sure that they know about it. But Public Works, what do I think about them? I think that, first of all, their leadership is amazing. From the top, whether it's Chuck and Trisha or Frankie, or they just have a great group of people over there, and it starts at the top, and then you push that same culture down throughout the organization. And if people have a problem, we fix it, we listen, we pivot, we adjust things, and you move forward. But Public Works is a department that I would say um, exemplifies my saying of we care more about them as people than professionals, because they are a very tight-knit group. They are a very down-to-earth group. And they're going to tell you, how they feel, and you listen to it, and then you make sure that you adjust to where the problem is. But Public Works and what they did this year, we had, two what I would call near misses, whether it was Helene and Milton, but we didn't get hit as impacted as our friends up North County, which is how I should say that. But they were ready. They reacted. They were, they left their families. They were here to protect our citizens, which is, the noble part of their service. And I think that Public Works, as they continue to grow, they're going to just continue to make this city the best it can be. And we appreciate all their service, everything they do all the time.
Fire department. What connection do you see them have with the citizens on their community engagement and what their future brings for the city of Northport?
So I think the fire department, we just talked about having a more youth-based program that was in their budget before. I don't think it was in this year's budget, but then I told him if he needed to do it this year, and I encouraged him to do it, Chief Titus, that we should put it in this year's budget. We can figure that out and find a way to make that happen. I think that, the fire department and what they do, and again, our public safety teams putting their lives on the line every single day when they walk out the door, that is not something every person can say or would say. So as we continue to make sure that they're forward facing and, have a visual presence at all of our events, whether Chief Titus or Deputy Chief Hurley or Deputy Chief Lane, their leadership at the top is very solid as well. I think that, all these departments that you mentioned, when I first got here, we did an anonymous employee survey for all of our departments. And, we're going to do another one in 25 so that we can just make sure that we have the right directions from the right people, that we're in the right places. And fire is a big part of that. Their team is, they're always young and energetic, and they're always like ready to go. When I see them, I'm like, man, they're just always ready for the challenge. So I definitely admire them. And I think that you'll see a lot of them visually again in 2025, like you did in 2024.
So Pam Kotars, hi Pam, how you doing? If we don't use all the services that the city provides for us, is okay. It's okay, I'm sure. It adds a value to your home if you don't want to sell it. So I'm happy that these city services are the best, and the employees keep earning all their awards. We don't talk about the awards on the show too often, but our staff goes out of their way to, I think, amplify the greatness. And I say it all the time. We have so much greatness within our city walls, from citizens to staff to leadership. Can you talk about the effort that the staff puts into achievements and why they go after them?
Yeah. So the effort they put in it is what I would call like a daily commitment. You don't come in here and slack off, or you're lazy one day or whatever. We're focused, we're driven, we try to fix things and make things better, and that's the motto we have to have. I want everyone to treat it every day like it's their first day, when you were getting there on the job and you were hungry and ready to work hard and learn and be a part of the team and make an impact. And these people that I work with, they are just, they're built that way. And I love it. And that's how you know you have good people working in public service, when they keep coming back. And I tell people, if you don't like your job, you need to do something different. Life is too short. We have people who love their job. And then you add the why they do it, because they love to give back, into how they do it with each other. There is a friendly competition that is always going on in this organization, whether it's police versus fire. They always have a tit for tat going. Our Parks and Recs director, Sandy, is building a trophy case. Every time she gets an award, she's just adding it into her trophy case, and other people see her getting all the awards, and they're like, well, wait a minute. And then, communications is getting theirs, and HR. I mean, everyone is in IT. I mean, they're always getting awards. Police chief just got Chief of the Year, and deputy chief got a deputy award as well. The awards that you get are nice, but they're not the reason that drives our team to get those. They like to give each other a hard time about, what they got or what they did, but it is all in true support of us all being a one whole team working together with a consistent effort that allows the city as a team to be great. And that's what I like. The individual pieces make up the sum of the whole. And when you do that and everyone's on the right page, you have some magic that happens. And I think we have magic here in Northport.
We do. And when you're striving for, I think when you're striving for achievement, it sets a different standard, doesn't it?
Well, I can tell you, my mentality is I want to be the best at what? At everything. Anything I do, I want to be the best at it. So I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep growing. And when you have that mindset of we don't want to get comfortable. We don't want to get complacent and say, oh, he's been there for 3 years, and now we don't see him out anymore. He's not on the volley show anymore. He stopped doing the Northport United tours. Where is this guy? What are we paying him for? I really want to make sure that we stay engaged with our communities, because as we go through the next 3 years, my first 3 years were going to be easy compared to the next 3 years. The first 3 years, you really had to get in and set a tone and create a culture and, make sure that everyone was in the right seat on the bus. Now we have to actually get off of that bus and work together and to fix some more problems, more than the ones that we got rolling in 2024 or 2023, whenever we got started on it. So now it's just a matter of going out there and improving it every single day that they put the right people in the right seat. And I'm one of those people. So if I don't step up and perform, they should rightfully so say, maybe it's time for us to move on from him. So I just have something to prove every single day. So that's how we look at it. I look at it.
I thought you just signed a 30-year contract.
I'm not going to work for 30 more years, I hope, but you never know.
Well,
I'm getting too old. I'm too old to work 30 more years.
I no matter how old you are, I'm still older than you, so it's all good. But I feel young at heart. I got
yes.
So we've talked about everything out there that I think has been, I don't want to call it targeted, because it's not targets. It's that these are hot topics of opportunity. The only one I left on really unfazed at this point, and that we kind of hit on early, is the fire department, or police department rather. Mm-hmm. And they do a phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of all of our staff at City Hall. I think they all know that right at this point. I think that we are firing on all cylinders like we've never fired before. We have a police department that over the decades that I've been here have seen glory, have seen the bottom, and then have risen to glory again. Right. I think that's okay. I think you have to have growing pains. You have to have those moments. Where we talked about the moments with the referendum. We're going to have moments, whether they're moral victories or not. We sort of have to stay engaged and count them. Right. Where do you see our police department and the technology and the drive and the focus they have on taking such great pride in keeping the community safe?
So our police department is leading the way in this region, if not the state, in their technology efforts, not only using drones to help mitigate certain situations, but whether it's license plate readers, which have helped us catch criminals who have come through our area or just did something in our area before they get out of our area. They have a real-time intelligence center that's in their building right now that allows them to see dozens of different places and activities that are going on in Northport. If you come here, you are going to normally get caught because we have a high level of emphasis on technology to make sure that our team is the most efficient that they can be. You will always notice that we try to make sure that they have not only the vehicles but the internal equipment. So even as we continue to grow, and we have the challenge with getting a new headquarters, you're about to see two portables come behind our police station to help them with their space needs this year in 25 until we get to whenever we get to the police headquarters. But we're not going to deny them what they need. And last year I think that they were very gracious and understanding that they were part of the team as a whole, and they listened and they asked, and Chief Garrison was able to do a lot with not everything that he needed. And this year we're going to make sure that we pay that back to him for sure. And I think that the IT and the tech side of that is extremely important. We have a stronger relationship between our IT manager over here in City Hall with his team, which makes them both more efficient together so that they can protect each other. And as you know, as well as I know, cyber attacks and IT go hand in hand nowadays. So we want to make sure that we have all the right systems in place, all the right protocols and internal controls so that IT can make sure that we do the best policing job for the city as possible.
You've got new staff coming, some changes in staff, I'm sure, with the new year. You've got changes with commission. You've got changes on your focus, maybe not focus, but your outcomes for 2025. They're strategically different.
Yeah.
What do you think, if you had to name, out of all the topics that we've talked about, the top 3 things that this city must, not needs to, must focus on? Top 3, like oh my gosh moments for a city.
So the first thing is you have to start at the top. You have to have a unified board when you are making decisions, whether you're in the majority or the minority of the vote. It's important that the public see you unified as you're trying to get something or do something for them, or whether you're trying to get something from them. I think that how we present ourselves and make sure that we present as a team, whether we all, I always say I work for the will of the board. They actually work for the will of the board as well. We want everyone to be heard and have input and represent the voters that put them in those chairs. But we also want to make sure that people know that we are collectively a team and working together. If they don't see that unity at the top, I think that cracks start to show very early and very often. The second most important thing I'm going to say is going to be our budget, which we have not talked about. The budget is always important. And this year, when you have all these other extra items that you're talking about, critical infrastructure, police headquarters, those things, that is secondary to the budget that we must pass and come together and say, where are our priorities at for this year? The commission had 2 days of strategic planning a week or so ago. What is today's date? Maybe about 10 days ago. And, it allowed our new commissioners to voice their opinion and see some information in a deeper dive than they may not have noticed, which was good. And I felt like when they see our budget and they see that we're going to match our dollars to our outcomes that they said was important to them, then that's going to give them a sense of confidence that the city is doing the right thing. And if they say, hey, look, we want you to cut more out of this budget for whatever reason, then we will make those decisions based on their strategic priorities and what's of a higher level of importance versus what's a lower level of importance. But the budget is going to be key as well. And with that budget, I'll say budget 2A, I would say, is making sure that we keep the millage rate the same. You know, the taxable rate on your property, you can't ask for infrastructure and headquarters and have that conversation and then say, oh, by the way, we're going to raise your millage rate. So that means we have to figure out how to live with a few $1 million in cuts here this year, when we are already planning on creating a new pathway to get a new ERP, which is an enterprise resource project. It's like the heart and soul of the finance, the accounting, the HR, you know, the system that connects all the systems of the city together. Ours is about 20 plus years old, and it needs to be redone, and it's not cheap, and it's going to take a long period of time. So that's 1, 2, 2A. And the third thing I would say is most important is that we continue to improve, continue to evolve what our community engagement looks like. You know, we're glad that we have a partner in you, and you joined us in sort of making sure emergency information gets out there. And, you know, we've been very fortunate with others who have said, hey, look, let us be a partner with you, Northport United, Northport Rising, to say, hey, look, we care about the city in a positive way. We've got to keep building on that as we continue to grow. I don't want to lose any valuable partners in 2025. So we got to make sure that even though everything didn't go the way I thought it should go in 2024, that we were right back at it. Where, you know, you fall down, get right back up, right back at it. So I want them to see a lot of energy from the city, and in return, we go show the citizens a lot of energy from our partnerships with them.
You know, we've covered a lot of ground, but the couple things you just hit on were community engagement style. You've got Northport Forward. We did the United tours, and that carried on for over a year, right? And,
yes, sir.
Yeah. So those types of engagements, and I've said this over and over and over. I can't tell you how many times I have even corrected citizens who have walked up and said, how do I get more information? And I tell them, tell them about the show, or the live streaming. I tell them about the United tours. I tell them all these things, and they're like, they what? And I said, yes. And understand, up and down our coastline, we don't have a city to compare to us.
That's true.
We are,
right.
You talk about leadership. You say leadership. I look at it and I say, we are the definition of leadership in a lot of these areas. And I say our staff at our city hall takes great pride in trying to amplify every one of these things and build momentum for the city. Can you talk about the relationship with a lot of these organizations like Northport Forward and why they're so valuable to the city?
So it's amazing when you talk about leadership. And first of all, I think leadership matters. If you don't have the right people with the right mindset and the right intentions, you know, bad things can happen. So, you know, we spend a lot of time proving ourselves to those people, and rightfully so, because we have a great deal of responsibility within our trust, and we have to take that very seriously. But think about when you have your children and you tell them something and you know this is the right thing to tell them, you tell them and they don't listen to you. But then your friend or your cousin or your uncle or someone comes in and says the exact same thing. And they're like, oh, that really? I'll listen to them. Yep. It's like some of that in the city when you see the awards and the accolades that we get, and we know that, you know, we have the right people in the right seats, and the citizens, they're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then when someone else says it, you know, it's like, oh, well, maybe now there's some points to it. But, you know, we need Northport Forward and the other nonprofits that we work with to just be there for the city. The ultimate goal is to make this city better for everyone. And as long as we have that outcome in mind, we can always figure out how to get there. But the city needs advisory board members. They need people to come out and speak about the budget. You know, make your voice heard. It would be such a different twist if we were saying that we know everything and we don't need to hear anything from anyone, but putting yourself and making yourselves vulnerable to the public is not something that I think is getting more popular in this day and age. Is getting less popular in this day and age. And I think community engagement is becoming a lost art form. And I don't want it to be lost here in the city of Northport. It's easy for a public service official to go and hide. If I didn't want to see anyone, I can make a reason not to see people for weeks and months at a time. And I would not be doing my job, and the commission should rightfully so say, hey, you know what, it's been nice, but you take care. So never lose sight of that obligation you have to the citizens. And my obligation flows through the commission, and the commission flows through them based on who they elect to put in those seats.
We have leadership programs in the city. Can you talk about the value of citizens taking that leadership role?
So we launched Northport University this past year in 2024, and we had our first cohort, and it was phenomenal. Our two new commissioners, you don't know what you don't know. And so we're trying to create a pipeline of people who are engaged in this city right now at whatever level or whatever seat they're in. And, we want to make sure that they know what they're getting into and the different depths of disciplines in the city so that they can have a good understanding of, okay, I understand what my government does. And you know what? I understand it so much, I want to join an advisory board. You know what? I understand it so much, I want to go out to a public event. I want to sign up to be a commissioner. I want to make sure that I can give back to my community. And different people are in different phases in their life, so everyone can't do everything, but everyone can do something. And maybe you don't want to give back to the city by, dealing with me, but maybe you want to go out there and help a nonprofit that has an impact on your city. There's no one size fits all, but I think that it is very important that we all understand that we all have a role to play and we shouldn't let others people down.
You have a unique situation going into 2025, I think.
Okay.
I think you have the right community engagement going on. I think you have the right topics to get citizens fired up on one side or the other. Hopefully it's not the same citizens on every negative side of things. I agree with that, because you can't be negative on everything. Pick your battles. But we talk about these things, and yet I say our city's not on fire. And I say that all the time to people, and they look at me like, what do you mean? Well, the March on City Hall, I got to tell you, we're not a spotlight of the news. We don't have hundreds of people showing up. A topic here, a topic there.
Right.
For the most part, I'm going to go back to Rick Severance, and I'm going to say the 98% of the citizens, I think, are working hard. They're focused on their daily life. They're focused on surviving the Northport life, which is
Right,
the way to go to work and make sure my kids are taken care of, and make sure they're at athletics, make sure they're at TAP or whatever they're doing, musicals, whatever their supporting cast is.
Right.
But how do you, as one of the leaders at City Hall, how do you evaluate the health of our city right now based on citizens?
So, we do the State of the City in mid-January. I think it's January. I think it's 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. And, we do that in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and we're grateful that they invite us and let us have that platform to speak. But, my internal comments have been, you said the city's not on fire, but I can see the match in the distance. And it's the financial cliff that I've been talking about, for the last 2 years, of saying that if we don't get our finances together to take care of ourselves and be able to do what we need to do, the city is going to have problems. But then when you look at the fiscal impact and the economic impact that we received lately, it shows a very good financial future. So now I got to blend those two things together, the needs and the actual revenue that we'll have to paint a picture and make sure that we are all going in the right direction. I love the direction of the city. I think that we are doing a lot of good things. I think that we heard a lot of feedback from things that the citizens didn't want and they didn't like, and we need to react to those things. So I don't think that we're on fire. I definitely don't think that we're at where we need to be. But for as long as I'm here and our team members are here, we keep pushing that ball forward every single day.
What's a new hot topic coming in 2025? One
A new hot topic.
a new hot topic. What's Jerome Fletcher think our hot button is going to be in 2025?
I think it's not new though. I think it's going to be how many things we ask the citizens for. That's what we heard. You need to come and ask us for things that you need. Message received. We will come and ask you for things that we need every time that we need something. So I hope that they see that when we change our behavior, it's because we've listened and we've learned, and we want to make the process smoother. I just don't feel like we should be going back and forth to the same topic, back and forth. Let's just figure out a clean way to go forward. Let's do it the way that pleases the most people, and let's all go be successful. I truly think, and this is just how my mind works because I'm a pessimist, that we might lose some of our leadership team in 2025. And, I love our team. We have some great people in great places. It cannot stay that way forever. Things happen. Life happens. So that means we have to either dig into our bench or go out and find new people who share the same level of intensity that we have and depth of knowledge that we have, because we're not going to compromise who we are and what we provide to the city. So that could always be a challenge. That would be a new challenge. But you take those challenges as life happens and you move on. But I don't see a new challenge that worries me at this point. I just feel like we need to do things better. I need to do things better. I need to be better listener, better communicator, better at the plans that I have and how to push those plans to success without thinking more narrow-mindedly than I should. So I always have my own goals. My own goals are always to get better each and every single day, just a little bit better each and every day.
All right, so I'm gonna you baited the hook here a little bit, so I'm gonna
right.
I'm gonna leave it right there for a second. Jerome Fletcher adjustment defined a little better than what you just did. I don't want to be. I want you to give us the visual that you had to adjust to from 24 and what 24 has brought to what you're looking at for 25 through your vision.
Mm-hmm. So I think we as people, I'll speak for myself. I, as a person, tend to, I like to listen, but if it's not in a respectful way, I tend not to engage, but I still try to take the good or the point that they're trying to say and go do it anyway. I need to do a better job of listening longer and getting more of that out of there from the messenger. Separate the message from the messenger a little bit better. Because there are people who I feel like, they don't have anything positive to say about this place. I'm like, well, why are you here? I'm like, I just don't understand why you would continue to be somewhere where you're unhappy about every single thing. So maybe I need to dig into the root causes of what those things are without sort of just sort of moving on, because we do have 95,000 people in this city. And if I thought about what 95,000 people thought about me, I would never get any sleep or get anything done. And that's just not how I'm wired. But listening longer would probably be better for the things that we're going to go through. And our team, we have a diverse thinking group in our team, and we are very all open in our places to speak very freely. So that has helped a lot. And there are there are certain people I joke with. I say that they hate me because they don't agree with me, and that's because they don't agree with me, and they're not going to agree with me, and they're not going to hide the fact that they don't disagree with me. And 9 out of 10 times that works very well. It's that one time where I'm like, why do I always have to take the high road? Why do I? And they talk me off of these ledges that I get on what seems like once every other day. But having a support system around you, and that works professionally and personally. At home, I can feel like I had the best day in the world. And I walk in the house and my wife says, oh, can you take out the trash? Or, you had a great day. Good. Go do this and go do that. And conversely, I can have a bad day and they'll be right there to say, it's just a day, it happened, get over it. But you need someone to be able to listen in your circle that is brave enough to give you the feedback that you need to hear in order to keep yourself from doing something that you shouldn't do. And I'm very grateful for my circle because they do that. I'm grateful for that same thing in the commissioners. I know we have 2, but the 3 that I've known up there, they're not going to tell me what I want to hear, and they're not going to sugarcoat it in a way that dilutes the message. They're going to tell me you did this wrong, or you should have done this differently, or let me tell you how I would have done it differently. And you hear that and you accept that, and you know that it's not a personal a personal attack from those 3 people who I've worked with for almost 3 years. For all of them, Stokes has been there for 2 years. But you take that and you are strong enough and confident enough to say that, okay, I need to do these things differently. And that's how we handle the majority of our personal corrections that they do for me in private. And I'm grateful for that.
So I'm gonna hit a couple hot buttons that I think people are quietly saying.
Okay. Sure.
And both of them are the same. And I mean this they're 2 different locations, but they're the same topic. And that would be Sumter and Toledo Blade 75 interchanges and the traumatic experience that one has either getting off or on the freeway or getting onto Sumter from the freeway or onto Toledo Blade. How long are we going to have to wait for that to change, do you think?
So at Sumter and 75, with the hospital coming right there, the plans for making that a permanent change and a permanent light is already underway. Very, very happy to see that now. But let's be clear, you don't change lights in an interchange in a very quick manner. But first of all, as I told someone earlier today, the government doesn't do anything quickly. So you have the local government working with your state government. It is not going to be easy, a quick process. But what I can tell you is that at I-75 in Sumter, that is the first priority as the hospital is about to sort of develop their footprint on their land. Because SMH is moving forward with bringing their first hospital on that particular property. And that's going to be very exciting. It might, I'm just thinking about how construction works and, modes of transportation, it might even look differently before it gets to the point that you want it to be finally. But again, you can see that up and down 75 when we go to any place, north of us.
Yep.
And then you get Toledo Blade and 75. And that one, I believe we're working on to get a better temporary situation set up there because we've heard the complaints about there as well you talk about the interchange coming there. That interchange was, I think, 25 years out, and they pulled it up 10 years, which is still a long time away from us. But if we want to activate that area, Toledo Blade and Sumter, the way that we see all the development that is primed to go out there, we better be working on that interchange. So those lights will change too, but not as fast, I think, as the one on I-75 in Sumter. I wish I could say that it's going to change sometime very soon, but we know that it's a problem. Public Works knows it's a problem. One of our new commissioners has came in and said that he wants that to be a focal point of our efforts, especially as it relates to getting grants to get those projects accelerated faster than they are. But From our understanding, the state has been working well with us, and they've given us a little checklist of things to do in order to accelerate the project even more than it has been, and we're working on those things. So we're definitely not giving up on it. We haven't, we're definitely not ignoring it, but I just know those things are a little bit longer out, and patience is going to be needed.
So we're at 419. We've covered
Oh,
huge amounts of area. January is going to bring a different focal point, because in January we're going to be talking about 2025.
so 2025, we will be talking. I may have told you this. If I didn't tell you, 2025 is going to be about money, more specifically, money we don't have. So now we have to work within the money we do have to figure things out. And we've been told how they wanted it to be done. So we're going to follow that map, and just hang in there with us, City of Northport. It's not always going to be easy, but we are going to get there together. Promise you.
I think I just got your intro song for the state of the city. Money,
Yeah,
money,
there you go.
money,
Right.
money. Show me the money. We
Yeah.
tried not to show me the money with the referendum, because borrowing power doesn't necessarily mean show me the money. It means, hey, you understood where we're going with this whole thing.
Well, I heard one person say that I didn't want to vote for the referendum because I didn't want to give you as a government any more money. I said that wasn't for us to get money. That was for us to borrow money to pay for things that we need. So, there's still some education and some misunderstanding out there about what we're doing or what we would like to do as we take care of ourselves. But, we'll fix it.
I look forward to 2025. I think we're gonna add on to what you brag about at the Northport Ford events, which is the staff.
Yes.
I know I've talked a lot about staff and what it means, but we have a huge history of our staff now. We have probably one of the most experienced staffs up and down the coastline, if not the most experienced. I would dare challenge. What do you think that means to the citizens to know that we have that much, gosh, longevity in government?
I honestly think most people, I don't want them to think about it. If government is doing its job correctly, they shouldn't be thinking about us. Things should be going smooth enough so we're not even a blip on their radar. They should say, go do your jobs. Someone put you in the job based on your qualifications. Now you should go do it well, and do it well every single day. I need to be focused on my life over here. If I have to stop and worry about government too much, not zero, but too much, then that's a problem. So in my mind, you put the right people in the right seats, and you let them perform, and it is a seamless process. When there's too many people thinking about government, it's not normally a good thing.
Right. Well, I think we're gonna leave it right there. And Robin, she said exactly, education is the key to get these referendums passed. And I think we're gonna leave it right there, because we started kind of with the referendum, and we ended with the referendum. And I think if there's anything that you've said that does mean the citizens need to listen closer and educate themselves, is the fact that you are going to do what they said, which is money, 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 money.
Yes.
It is all about dollars at this point.
Contrary to popular opinion, I can follow directions better than most people. So I am not going to be the one here saying that I'm not going to do what the people said to do. We are going to do what they said to do, because that's the job. It's not to do things that you like to do. It's to do things you're supposed to do. So listen to your people, listen to the commissioners, go do your job. But
Awesome.
January 6th is the next iteration of the referendum conversation. So We're going to be doing a lot of work over the holidays, but I think we're going to paint a picture, and it may not be a pleasant picture. Let me be clear, but I think that we've left a lot of details on the floor. And now that we had our meeting on December the 10th, we have a better reality of what details we need to paint. So now we're going to bring it back and paint it on January 6th. So
wow. Hey, one of our fearless leaders is out there, Chief Titus. He says, "Great job, thank you, John," and Chief Manager or City Manager Jerome Fletcher. How about that?
Yeah. Chief Titus is a great guy. I give him a hard time, but he is a great guy. He has
super.
wonderful sense of humor.
Enjoyed the conversation I had with him. We've got some stuff coming up in 2025 with the live streaming through the fire department. I can't wait to really sink our teeth into some of the things he's been doing and where we're going. Just like our fire department, just like City Hall. We should go out of 2024 with our heads high and knowing that we're reaching for the stars in the sky, and Northport greatness is what this is about. And I'm so thankful that you're driving the ship.
Sir, it's been a pleasure to be here. It's been 3 years since I've been here. Wouldn't change it for anything. Just love the city. City's my best friend. Think about the future of the city. You're always thinking about the city. So, it's a pleasure to be here. And I get a lot of support, and I'm grateful for all of those people who I have not said thank you to lately. Thank you for all your support. You guys have been there with me through a lot, and I appreciate it. And I will never forget it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for spending time with me, and we'll talk to you really soon. This is John Rawlings, along with City Manager Jerome Fletcher, saying happy holidays, be safe out there, and bring 25 in with the thought of others. How about that? And we'll talk to you guys soon. Be safe.